Instruction is such a flexible and important part of the learning experience. We spoke earlier about the role of standards and the role of curriculum and the unit plans. And when we had that conversation, we talked about the spectrum going from incredibly consistent to something that was somewhat flexible, a little bit consistent and a little bit flexible, and then instruction we described as flexible. Because of that nature, we seek out instructional techniques that are more effective and help students start to navigate their own learning, take responsibility for their own learning. One of the most effective techniques we've been using is framing the learning, which is available in a book, Instruction for All. The point of framing the learning is that you are setting what we talked about in the unit plan into a student-facing tool. So what does that mean? It's a series of questions that a teacher might use in the first 5 minutes of an instructional event to help the student think about the target, why they're thinking about that target, how they're going to learn it, and how they're going to know it. So the questions we put forward are, what am I learning? Well, the answer to that, the teacher should also provide, which comes right from the content and skills in the unit plan. What am I learning? Why am I learning it? So for that, a teacher is going to point to the essential question from the unit plan, because it's the heart of why we're going through this material. But we're asking the student to put that into their neurological pathway and get blood to that part of the brain even before the direct instruction. How am I going to learn it? Again, note, we're bringing it into the student's responsibility to learn it and not a teacher's responsibility to force them to learn it. But we bring up the learning strategies we mentioned earlier. How am I going to learn this? Is it going to be direct instruction? Is it going to be group work? Is it going to be something where I'm going to be in centers? I want to think about that method. And last but not least, how will I know I've learned it? That little shift may seem nuanced, but the difference between a student thinking, how will my teacher know I've learned it, versus how will I know I've learned it, is very important in terms of the brain. So when we think about our instructional techniques and we're playing with what should I use, it's helpful to go into the brain science. How can I, in a safe and effective way, help a learner bring all of this information or develop all of these skills in a way that's effective for them? Framing the learning just puts 4 questions on the table. Now, in terms of implementation, those 4 questions align straight back to the unit plan. And we mentioned you might do this first thing, maybe the first 3-4 minutes. When you do that, the teacher should provide the answers. We don't want to take the time and have the students try to answer them. But now your class continues, as it always has. You might be doing a mini lesson, kind of an I do, we do, you do model. Then we want you to picture the end of the lesson. At the end of the lesson, you return to the framing of the learning. And you have the student now work through, what did I learn? Why did I learn it? How did I learn it? Can I tell I've learned it or not? And we add one more question. How do I feel about learning this? Or how do I feel about this learning experience? Bringing in that social emotional part in terms of a reflection, a little bit of closure, can really help students be successful long term with the material that you are hoping to share with them.